We hear a lot about rip-offs in the world of entertainment, and usually they get shut down by critics and fans pretty quickly. However, there have been plenty of instances in which a rip-off actually managed to succeed in its unoriginality and surpass the thing that it was actually copying. What's up, guys? Jimmy here. Welcome to Chaos Top 10s, and today we're going to be taking a look at and counting down 10 video games that were total rip-offs but still managed to sell more than the original. Also, just a disclaimer, I don't mean to say that the games on the list are bad or that you should feel bad for liking them, but you have to acknowledge that they're not exactly the original games, and that's kind of where the video comes from. We are running a $200 Amazon gift card giveaway the entire month. All you have to do to enter is like this video, be subscribed, turn on your notifications, and leave a comment why you want to win it with your Twitter handle attached. I will announce the winner at the end of the month on Twitter. Good luck on the giveaway, guys. Make sure you hit that subscribe button really quick and the like button if you guys enjoy these top 10s. And now, let's go over 10 video game rip-offs that sold more than the game they were ripping off. Kicking off the list at number 10 is Candy Crush Saga, and it's one of the most successful mobile games of all time, but the team behind this game definitely knows a thing or two about rip-offs, as their first big game, Bubble Witch Saga, was pretty much a straight rip-off as well. However, Candy Crush Saga blew up even bigger than Bubble Witch did. It was a straight rip-off of the classic Bejeweled. The gameplay is simple. You just slide a bunch of different candies to the side in order to match 3 in a row and break as many candies as possible as you progress through the game. At its peak in popularity, Candy Crush Saga had over 93 million concurrent players. It was generating almost $500 million every 3 months. I think it's safe to say that this video game ripoff was a monster success. At number 9, we have a game called King's Bounty: The Legend. This is a game that some of you may not actually remember, and it was actually a ripoff of another game that you may not remember either. King's Bounty: The Legend was released in 2008 for the PC, and it featured tactical RPG elements and gameplay. However, if you go back and look at the Heroes of Might and Magic series of games, it's pretty clear where King's Bounty got its concepts from. While there are a few subtle differences, it was clear that King's Bounty wasn't exactly an original game. Despite this, the game sold pretty well and was recognized as one of the best PC games of the year. While most people don't even remember the series, it was a ripoff, and there's a lot of legality battles that go on behind the scenes with all these games, because the more games that come out, the harder it is to be original. I'm sure plenty of you guys remember this game at number 8, The Simpsons Road Rage. Released in 2001, Road Rage was a straight-up ripoff of the classic Crazy Taxi, which was released just a year earlier at the time and led to Sega actually suing EA for patent infringement. Like I said before, they get mad. You know your ripoff was a little too early or a little too similar to the original when the developers of the original actually try to sue you over it, okay? Road Rage put you in the shoes of various Simpsons characters as they picked up other Simpsons characters and tried to drive them around to their destination as quickly and destructively as possible. Despite the game clearly being a rip of Crazy Taxi, The Simpsons Road Rage still sold insanely well, with over 5 million copies sold as of the recording of this video right now. We've mentioned this little rip-off gem before on Chaos Top 10s, and it earns another spot for just how blatant it is, okay? At number 7, Guitar Hero. Now, Guitar Hero is an extremely addicting music game that was released in 2005, and it kicked off a super successful franchise. However, the concept for Guitar Hero was actually a straight rip-off of a Japanese arcade game called Guitar Freaks, which featured a plastic guitar with color-coded buttons for you to play along with the various songs. The funniest part of all of this is the fact that Red Octane, one of the developers of Guitar Hero, actually helped develop the guitar controller for Guitar Freaks, making this ripoff feel just a little more shady than the others on this list, that the ripoff of developers was actually involved with the original. And I just wonder if there was some collusion there or something going on there. You go from making the original controller, then you go over to this other company and you kind of give them the idea and the concept and God knows what else to make the new one. Seems pretty shady to me. At number 6, we have Ninja Gaiden 2004. Now, many people know Ninja Gaiden as the ultra-hard 3D action game it is today, but that wasn't always the case. Before 2004, Ninja Gaiden was actually a 2D beat-em-up platformer for the arcades like NES and Game Boy. In 2004, it was time for a change. and the Ninja Gaiden reboot was released, which most of us know as Ninja Gaiden Black and Ninja Gaiden Sigma, as there were different versions released for different consoles. But for the sake of the video, we're just going to call them all Ninja Gaiden 2004. Ninja Gaiden 2004 switched the series to a 3D hack and slash with insane difficulty and is widely regarded as one of the hardest games of all time. However, have you ever compared Ninja Gaiden 2004 to the original Devil May Cry game? Released in 2001, DMC really helped popularize the 3D hack and slash genre, and it shouldn't be any surprise that Ninja Gaiden, another Japanese-developed game, made the switch to such a similar gameplay after DMC's success. Cracking into the top 5, Angry Birds, another one of those most popular mobile games of all time. Angry Birds has since grown into a giant franchise with books, TV shows, cartoons, and even a movie. Whether or not you like them or whatever or not, it doesn't matter. It's hard to deny how addictive the original game was. And it's also hard to deny that it was a complete ripoff of Crush the Castle, which was released in early 2009. Crush the Castle featured the player using a giant slingshot cannon thing to chuck various items at a structure, challenging the player to find the perfect angle to fire at their target. Does that sound familiar? 8 months later, Angry Birds was released with the identical gameplay with birds that all boasted identical powers as the items in Crush the Castle. Despite how blatant the ripoff was, Angry Birds rapidly became one of the biggest apps in the world with over 2 billion downloads by January of 2014. Isn't there only like 7 or 8 billion people on the planet? So a third, roughly, of them have downloaded Angry Birds? At number 4, we have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the arcade game. One of the best arcade game beat-em-up games ever. TMNT was released in 1989, and it was a smash hit, eventually being ported to pretty much every console imaginable, and is still getting digital console re-releases to this day due to its legacy. You played as any of the 4 turtles as you fought through a side-scrolling world with multiple layers in order to save April and Splinter, who've been taken captive by the infamous Shredder and his gang. While TMNT was extremely popular and is considered one of the best arcade games ever, it is hard to deny that the gameplay was a straight rip from Double Dragon 1 and 2. While TMNT definitely featured smoother visuals and fighting mechanics, the gameplay and concept are definitely from Double Dragon, an equally famous arcade beat-em-up series from the mid-80s. At number 3, I'm sure at least one of you knows why this game is on here. Miss Pac-Man or Mrs. Pac-Man, whatever. Miss Pac-Man is a pretty interesting story, actually. After the runaway success of the original Pac-Man, Namco obviously wanted to capitalize and produce a sequel. However, the developers were really taking their time with the production of the new game, and Namco wanted to get a new game out before the in-development sequel would actually be finished. This led them to tracking down the developers of Crazy Otto, which was a Pac-Man ripoff game, and buying it from them, changing the character model, and simply releasing it as Miss Pac-Man. Now, meaning Miss Pac-Man is actually a reskin of a ripoff of the original Pac-Man. Now that, my friends, is a slap in the face. At number 2, one of the most famous and legendary video games of all time, many consider Pong to be the birth of the industry as a whole. However, people often forget that it wasn't actually the first video game. In fact, it wasn't even the first video game to feature 2 paddles and a ball that bounced back and forth on a screen. There was actually a game simply called Table Tennis, developed by Magnavox Odyssey. Atari took the design, altered it ever so slightly, and released it as Pong, which rapidly became a hit. So now you know that the most famous video game of all time was actually a ripoff. The entire gaming industry was built upon a ripoff. And we've reached the number 1 spot today, and it is garnered by Farmville. Released in 2009 by Zynga, Farmville became an internet sensation as it was constantly advertised and pushed by Facebook and ended up being the most popular game on the entire site for over 2 years. The success only grew when it got a standalone release for mobile devices, but unfortunately, Farmville wasn't even the slightest bit original, as the gameplay is completely ripped off from Farmtown, which had released online earlier that year. It is a shame how many mobile and online games are so blatantly ripped off, and I'm hoping that the developers and creators of Farmtown behind the scenes got paid what they were owed for Facebook and whoever ripping this off and making so much money off of it. And there you have it, my friends. Those are 10 video game ripoffs that actually sold at more than the original game, which is, like I said, it's a slap in the face. If you guys enjoyed it, let me know in the comment section. Also, let me know some other video game ripoffs that are actually pretty good. There's a playlist below if you guys want to check out all the other gaming top 10s. A brand new one goes up every single night at 8 o'clock Central Standard Time. And that's it. Hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow.